Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay, fresh off a training camp trip earlier today. We had boots on the ground with Sir Tim in the house. Tim, man, the pictures looked amazing. Looked like just a great day to go to a camp practice in Green Bay, Wisconsin, man.
It was absolutely phenomenal. And, Mr. Mark Murphy mentioned this at the shareholders meeting this afternoon as well, that it was one of the best turnouts he's seen during his time here in Green Bay. And I will co-sign that. I've been to more than my fair share of training camps over the years, and there was a different vibe today. Um, Opening day of training camps always the busiest. You get a lot of people that come from all over the world. Shout out to our French, British, and German Packer fans that I saw in town today. That was awesome. But, it's always busy day one. But something was different. The vibe was different today out there. A lot of support for this team. They're a young squad on the rise, and there's a lot to be excited about. And the fans were out in full force today, man.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite clip here as we're showing some of the footage. QB1 running out or walking out on the field with Coach LaFleur just shows you, like, listen, guys, this is not that big of a deal.
Yep.
The reality is Jordan Love's about to make some bank, and it's his turn up. The Packers could have avoided it a little earlier. We're going to talk about it in great detail. Could have gave him a contract back in May, right? And we kicked him. We said it over and over and over, man.
It ain't going to get cheaper.
Yeah, the longer you wait, every time you wait and someone else gets another offer, it's going up. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying, man, I'm glad it happens like that. I'm simply saying that's the reality, man. That's the reality of quarterbacks getting paid in this league, man. So with that being said, let's just kind of jump into the topic right off the top here. Obviously, it was the talking point all day long on Packers Twitter and wherever else you're consuming your Packers news for the very first training camp of the 2024 season, man. It's here. I'm just so excited about it. But we had Goody at the podium earlier today. Matt Schneidman tweeted this out, said Jordan Love will not participate until he has a new deal. Brian Gutekunst says Love's camp informed Packers of that decision Saturday. Gutekunst says a deal could get done in the coming days, but you never know. Says big deals take time. Quote, I feel we're close. So obviously, again, that's the headline today. We definitely didn't want to bury that lead. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about some of the reaction and everything along with it. We kind of hit it right off the top, Tim. You could have given probably Jared Goff's deal back in May, but you decided, hey, let's try to negotiate a little bit more, and then bang, Jared Goff gets his deal. Then all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence gets his deal. Now, as you guys know, Pretty Ricky on Twitter said Jordan Love was the next guy. It looked like he was going to be closest to getting a contract, even more so than Tua Tagovailoa, and then obviously Dak Prescott. So, with all that being said, here you are now. Trevor Lawrence got his deal. Well, guess what? Now you've got to top Trevor Lawrence's deal. And I listen. I completely understand. Like I said, I understand there's fans out there that are going, "That ain't right. That ain't right." Whether we think it's right or not, man, that's the reality of the situation. It's next man up. So, Tim, how are you feeling? I just want to test your pulse here before we dive into some of this other coverage of it. How are you feeling about Jordan Love? Man, you freaking out over here?
No, not at all. And one of the first tweets I saw about this morning was from Eli Berkowitz earlier, and he kind of echoed that sentiment of just kind of everyone needs to calm down a little bit and understand that this is not a football thing. This is a business thing.
Yep.
These are dollars and cents. These are void years, cap, guaranteed money, blah, 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 accountant talk type stuff.
Yep.
This has nothing to do with football. This is not a holdout. I do not want to hear Jordan Love's name and holdout mentioned in the same sentence, because that's not what this is. Guys that hold out aren't in team meetings. They're not on the practice field. They're not at the facility. They're at home playing Xbox. That's what a holdout looks like. So this is not a holdout. A deal will get done. It's just a matter of when. It's not if. If there's any doubt in any fans out there's minds that, a deal's not going to happen, I don't believe that at all. He's going to be signed. He's going to get a fat payday. He's going to get a lot of guaranteed money. We know this. And it's not going to be cheap for the Packers. And also in true Goody fashion today, after the shareholders meeting, he went up and made his speech, and then immediately exit the stage and reached for his phone. It was back to work. So our GM is all business as usual, and he's clearly motivated to get it done. They didn't really speak much on it during the meeting today, and that was the hot topic at camp. But it was a great sign for us to all look over at that field and see Jordan out there. Side by side with Goody and Coach LaFleur. So, everybody just needs to, take a page out of Aaron Rodgers' book here and just relax a little bit.
Just a touch.
Just a
and
touch.
It's funny, man, when you said he's in camp, it's what they call a hold in, basically going, look, I'm not mad at you, but I'm not going to risk getting hurt. I'm going to be out here supporting my teammates. I'm going to be in the meetings and all that. Let's get the deal done, right?
And let's be honest, that's probably coming from his representation. I mean,
absolutely.
If it were up to Jordan Love 100%, he'd probably be out there today.
My guess is his representation said, don't even hold in, stay at home.
His representation also said, don't even talk to them, don't even ask questions about it, or else we're canceling the interview.
So that's a testament to his character, right? Absolutely. The fact that he's saying, hey, hold on, guys, this is my team. I need to be out here. We want to start this year off right. So it's a good sign for QB1.
He didn't put in all that work for nothing, right? I'm not going to leave him high and dry right now.
That's right.
Tim, when you said he could be at home playing Xbox, I immediately thought he could be at home smoking Emilio, who's using Valdosta State University.
I went on a win streak for a little bit, Clayton, and then I've been using the balls, man, and I got handed to me a couple times, but I got through I ranked up. We're going to the next season.
Bro, you cannot turn on a sports talk show without people talking about the college football video game.
It's crazy.
Everybody's got the same opinion. Man, I'm getting smoked out here. This is way more difficult than the last one. I love it, man. I love it. So, it's just funny. McAfee show is off the rails with it, dude. They're just constantly talking about it. But I put a little poll out earlier today. And by the way, Tim, shout out to Tim for this shot. Beautiful shot of the practice field, man. That's our background tonight. So great job with that, buddy. Appreciate it.
It was slim pickings today, man. It was packed house. It was tough to get up there and get some pictures of the boys. But me, I had to push the envelope a little bit.
Tim, you could have sold that picture back to some really nice newspaper, a nice article online, and you decided to use it here with
always giving
appreciate
back.
You, my man.
Always giving back, man. That's how it is.
Just the tip, though.
So, but anyway, so I put a poll question out earlier. I wanted to see what everybody thought about the whole situation, right? And I tried to grab the screen grab I just grabbed was the most recent one. So we'll see how many votes were actually contributed to this poll. 408 votes. So not a very small sample size, right? I said poll question for the show. With Packers quarterback Jordan Love sitting out training camp until he gets his new contract, where do you stand on the situation? I put one option being Goody is being cheap. The second one, Jordan is asking too much. And then the third one, no fault, just business. I'm so proud of this fan base because that's the one I would have chose. And it was 83.8% of the fan base voted no fault, just business. People aren't freaking out. So if you see people freaking out, they probably got an ulterior motive. You know what I mean? They're probably they don't like Jordan Love or they don't like Goody, and they're just trying to trumpet that across, right? So I'm with Tim. I agree. I think it's awesome that Jordan showed up. And obviously, going to be there for his teammates. I think he handled it just like he has everything else, man. He's handled it the right way. He's handled everything damn near perfect, And that's why I'm rooting for him to get the contract, because it's like he gave him a team-friendly deal on that 2-year extension when he could have held their feet to the fire there and made them choose between a 5th-year option and a franchise tag. And instead, he's like, yeah, I'll sign a 2-year extension, little guaranteed money in my pocket, and I'll go prove it. He went and proved it, right? At least for half the year, is worth saying. But here's some other information that dropped on earlier. Tom Silverstein, which you guys know, I've been very vocal. I could be wrong. I'm pretty confident I'm not in this case. Most cases I am wrong, but here I feel confident. Tom Silverstein is plugged in with Brian Gutekunst in the Packers. So you know how we talked yesterday about Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter? Most of the time when they have news drop, it's coming from the agents, right? When Tom Silverstein speaks, I think it's personally coming from the front office or someone close to the front office in the building. Here's what he tweeted out. He had an earlier tweet that said, one thing about the Love deal, it is not connected with the Kenny Clark deal in any way. Both deals were budgeted. Contract negotiations continue with Love, And the first hurdle is getting it done before the team starts practicing in pads at the end of the week. Now, he quote tweeted that with a more recent tweet and put, Gutekunst said the two sides are close, which isn't something he would say if they weren't. Nothing moves negotiations more than a deadline, but it isn't done. Love will be here taking part in everything but practice. The first 3 days are basically a mini camp. Then it gets serious. So I'm just going to say this. Tom Silverstein says first 3 days ain't serious. Doesn't it sound like somebody in the building might have said probably going to take 2 or 3 days? It feels like that, doesn't it?
Right.
So just something to kind of keep our eye on there.
I was just thinking, I was just trying to see with this, where we at for the first 3. So by Thursday, Friday morning, something like that, the day off, you can come in, sign it, be done with it. And then that way Friday you wake up and go to practice, be ready to roll.
That's a great point, Tim. That day off on Thursday, that might be, if they don't have it done, that might be a good little buffer time for them to sit down and get it ironed out, right?
Mm-hmm. If that's a day off, because this can be deceiving. This is public practice, so there may very well be a closed practice Thursday, or a limited practice. Sometimes they just do minor stuff.
Good point.
Pseudo off day maybe, but I think that's a good timeline. I mean, the sooner the better. We've been saying that for months, like we just said, right, Clayton? But I mean, now we're at crunch time here, and I gotta be honest. I texted you guys earlier. It was really weird seeing 2 red jerseys out there today, and not seeing QB1 out there with the guys throwing darts. But we'll get into the camp details later. But I will tell you, Michael Pratt looked pretty good, and Sean Clifford looked pretty good today as well. So
let's go. Yeah, and I know that if I understood correctly, Matt LaFleur maybe had said something either on the record or off the record to one of the beat reporters that you guys remember. I think it was Sean Mannion that they hired to be the assistant quarterback coach or whatever his title is. They're saying that he's going to play as that third quarterback right now as far as throwing, routes on air balls. So that is something that was reported today.
It shocked me that they didn't just throw a red shirt on Magoo again and just have him out there throwing, which
I agree.
Makes it really interesting that they didn't. I mean, they're fully walking with this, or fully running away with this. He's a wide receiver now, so I guess Alex Magoo's a wide receiver.
I thought wasn't he injury waived or something, like settlement wise? I thought that's what Ryan was saying. Was that he got injury waived? So once they hammer that out, I thought he was gone, but maybe I'm.
Maybe okay. No, that would explain it.
Yeah, because or else why wouldn't you throw the red jersey on him? For just having the camp arm, because that's what Goody was saying in his presser, right? That if it does get drawn out over an extended period of time, at some point we are going to need another arm in there to throw the ball. So he said he definitely didn't want to get to that point, but that's also probably why they worked out that other quarterback when they brought in those wide receivers the other day.
I get
it.
There you
go.
Yep.
All right, so just a little more detail on that. Tom Silverstein went on to say LaFleur said that quarterback Jordan Love will be at practice and in meetings. He said Love has put in a lot of work and will be on top of everything they're doing on the field. I think a little earlier than that, he says Packers coach Matt LaFleur said quarterback reps will be mostly 50-50 between Clifford and Pratt. He said offensive coach Sean Mannion may have to throw some balls in practice, talking about the yards on air that we were just talking about. So that's where I knew I heard it somewhere. I just couldn't remember where. So that Sean Mannion pickup, some people are going, why are we talking about the assistant to the quarterback coach? It's cool that they took a quarterback who had played in the league so recently and just put him right behind Tom Clement so he can kind of learn from one of the GOATs at the quarterback coach position, right? So really excited that to see what Sean Mannion could potentially mold his craft into there. Now, another tweet that came out was from Matt Schneidman. It says Jordan's still doing his handshakes with the running backs and staying with the QBs while not practicing. So that's what I'm talking about right now.
Dude is on the field, middle of the field. That's all you can ask for. He doesn't have an injury. I mean, he is 100% committed to the players, and he will be committed to the team once we hammer this deal out. Obviously, he's committed, but that final little stretch there.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that kind of what you've seen too? The vibe you got, Tim, there, boots on the ground. He's a part of everything. He's just not physically suiting up, right?
Yeah, it's a technicality. That's what it is. It's a business technicality. He's not going to put the helmet on and go out there and throw anything until they sort this out. But everything else he's a part of. And honestly, I mean, look, we just talked about it. We're getting 50-50 reps with our QB2 and our QB3. Early in camp, you know, the whole adage of it's basically like a mini camp here these first 3 days, like we just mentioned, right?
Yep.
Makes sense. Hopefully they iron this out this week, and J Money's throwing dimes again for us.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I mean, I'm not going to make Clayton mow the side of a hill bank before I tell him I'll give him $5 before doing it, right? Like, I mean, I'm not going to put him through that.
I don't know if $5 is going to do it. Are there yellow jackets in the ground on that hill? That's what I'm
actually have been pretty clear this year.
Oh, have you really?
Knock on wood.
Good for you, buddy. Yeah. We have been lit up. I'm just telling you, man, they're waging war on us. It's been unbelievable. It's been so dry. Oh my God. The worst, Tim, you get that walk behind, man, that big 800-pound walk behind on a hillside, and you hit a yellow jacket's nest. You can't let it go. That's money, baby. You got to ride that thing out. And it sucks. It sucks so bad. You just got to go, and you got to hope the neighbors don't mind you dropping a few F-bombs along that hillside. Let's go. All right, Chris in the chat. Let's go to the chat, see what everybody's saying. Chris in says, Clayton, I cannot believe Love is not practicing. I'm very surprised. Tough agent in Mugatu. I can't remember if he's joking there with it was Mugatu, wasn't it, that we said from Zoolander, obviously. So yeah, you know, I'm not gonna BS y'all. It surprised me that Love was sitting out, but I'm not mad. I get it, you know, like if he goes out there and God forbid, you know, even in something like they did today, non-contact, and you tear an ACL. Listen, the team isn't going to go, man, yeah, let's give him his contract. That's not how it works. So you can't hold it against the player, right? To try to get what he feels like he deserves too. Now, I think I read somewhere that he took out an insurance policy as well. So Love had to take out an insurance policy. I believe I heard somebody talking about there. Maybe they were just speculating. But, you know, most of the time what happens there when you're going into a contract year and you still don't have the contract and you may or may not have to practice or play on it, what they'll do is take out a huge insurance, you know, policy. That way if something does happen.
Isn't that kind of like what Tay was talking about in his thing, what he did? He's like, I had to take out a big, you know, to cover myself or whatever, right? Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's just a good business move. It really is. Omer in the chat said, Adam Schefter reporting on McAfee show he is not surprised if he becomes the highest paid quarterback in the league by Friday. That's what's tracking here. Like, I would love to think, no, we're going to get a really good deal on him, but this has gotten to the point. The really good deal was to be had in May, and we decided not to, right? So, and that's, if you go back and listen to the show, that's what I was trying to say. This isn't a I told you so moment. I'm not trying to pretend like, guys, we knew it all along. I was just simply saying, like, you either think he's the guy or you don't. And if you think he's the guy, which Goody has openly and publicly said, we knew this since 2019. We all know that's a little bit of a fabrication there. But if he does believe he's the guy, then you know what the market is. Get it done, right? Now, if you're hesitant, I completely understand. Like, there's an argument to be made to be a little hesitant. We're not going to sit here and pretend like he didn't have half a year last year that was bad, because it was. The first half was really bad. There was glimpses, there was flashes, right, where we go, oh, we might have the guy here, and then he, you know, maybe take a step back, and part of that is due to the teammates, the receivers maybe not being in the right spot early in the year. The blocking and everything not coming together the way they wanted it too early. But nonetheless, that second half of the season, there's an argument to be made. He was the best quarterback in the league. So it's a tough spot for both sides. And I love that they're all being mature about it. I love that his agent reached out on Saturday and said, hey, listen, just want to give you a heads up. Here's our plan. Okay. Yep. And Goody being like, hey, all right, we got it. We understand. Now let's just continue working toward a deal. Right. So Jake Shavinka in the house. Good to see you, buddy. He says holdout is just flat out inaccurate. I completely agree.
Yep.
It's not a holdout. Even though the term hold in makes you think he's standing on the sidelines doing this. It's less than a hold in when you look at, you know, the stuff we just covered and how he's participating.
All of this, we're going to bring Lombardi home a couple of times, and in 3 or 4 years, we're going to be talking about another restructure anyway.
Absolutely. Kevin Rogers in the chat says, I want this deal to drop tonight while I'm working. That'll make the work night go a little bit easier. Won't it, Kevin?
Speak it into existence. I love it.
Right. I love Blake B. He said everybody's freaking out. He said our pets' heads are falling off. On Dumb and Dumber. Love it. One of the best movies ever, man. Gosh. If somehow, some way, someone in the chat has never seen Dumb and Dumber, stop what you're doing and watch the original Dumb and Dumber. Don't fall for the sequel.
You're gonna a whole box of IOUs. You're gonna want to hang on to that one. That's an expensive one. That was great.
Or when he walks out and he goes, "We landed on the moon." Absolutely gold. That was in the 90s, back when I might have been in my wacky backer days too. So we giggled a lot at that movie. I'll just leave it at that. Prince in the chat says, huge drama. Everybody panic. I love that the listeners of this show, no one's freaking out, right? It really, and again, that poll question that we put out earlier, Packers Twitter really, they may be proud, man. Nobody freaking out and just saying, hey, it's just business. United Bates says, if I was Love, I'd still be wearing that goofy ass helmet cover even without practicing. LOL. Could you imagine him on the sideline with the
so not chancing anything with that deal on the line?
I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, so let's get back to some more camp news here. Well, a little bit more on Love, and then we'll get into some of the injury updates and all that good stuff. So obviously, Tom Silverstein tweeted out, Packers do not have to fine quarterback Jordan Love $50,000 because he reported to camp. Two sources said the NFL requires teams to fine players who hold out, but since Love is with the team, it's up to the Packers to decide. They aren't going to fine him. That rule that was put in place, that basically if someone holds out of camp, the team has to fine them. And in the past, they would just waive those fines. It's in the CBA, and the owners all agreed we will no longer waive those fines. And the reason being is because you got situations like the Brandon Ayuk situation. They're not going to waive that. And it's so ownership, front office management, they can't kind of give in on a singular level, like, oh, well, we're just going to waive his. It's forcing all the owners to play by the same set of rules. Therefore, they're unified in the stance of, look, we're not dealing with holdouts anymore. It was collectively bargained. However, the hold in, totally different.
Yeah, look at how this was handled. It gives you some insight. Everybody was in the know. Both sides were in communication. It's a non-issue. It's nice that they don't even have to concern themselves with this. Just because of the type of player Jordan is, being here throughout this process. So
yeah, definitely. All right. Other news that people were asking about today. GM Brian Gutekunst said that offensive tackle Zach Tom will come off of PUP today and practice in a limited form. He suffered a torn pec during the offseason and didn't take part in OTAs. So that was great news. Obviously, Zach Tom came off the PUP list. He was on the sidelines working out. I think they said he was on a bike there for a little bit and all that. This is right on par with what we said the other night, guys, where we were like, hey, look, you don't have to rush Zach Tom back. He's arguably the second best, maybe the best, at least the second best offensive lineman in that room. Don't rush him back. And I wouldn't expect him to come off the PUP list. I thought they would use the fact that he is such a good player. Hey, let's just let him sit on the PUP, and we'll kind of work around that until he's completely ready. So the fact that he came off of that, not only does it give me hope for Zach Tom and he's fully healthy, but it also gives me hope that the fact that Tucker Kraft is 2 weeks behind him with the same injury with the torn pec, he's probably on par to, and everybody's different, I get it, but for the most part, generally speaking, Tucker Kraft should be good to go here in a couple weeks too, fellas. So anything you guys want to add to the Zach Tom update there? Because I know we're going to talk about where people we're going to talk about where people lined up here in just a second, which I think is one of the more interesting parts of camp, honestly, when we get camp cranked up. But how do you feel about Tom? We feeling good about it?
I'm excited. Let the man rest. Let him go. What's a couple of days right now, right? My family night, first preseason game. He knows what he's doing. You guys talked about it last night. So, he's ready to play football. We just need to make sure he's 100% back from the injury, and then we'll get after it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. A lot of musical chairs on that O-line early in camp as well. So
that's good though. Maybe that helps them. Maybe that forces their hand. Like, all right, we don't have to get all the ones out there. We're going to be forced to throw the ragtag together and see how they do. And then we get a take on who's better here, who's better there. We get an extra rep at right tackle. So all that.
Yep, absolutely. And it gets, like we said too at the top, it gives him more time to get back and just feel 110% when he gets out there. So
yeah. Definitely. Tim, do you got any camp notes you want to hit on, or you want me to just keep hammering these out here that I've got screen grab, man?
I mean, you can keep going. I just kind of took some random notes based on what I was able to see when I could get near the fence. The crowds were crazy. I thought I got out there early enough today, but I didn't. So I was definitely boots on the ground, walking around a lot today. No, I just had a few notes on just what I saw personally, which I'm sure a lot of the beat writers and Packers Twitter is probably already covered. So we can just keep rolling.
Good deal, man. Well, if you've got something that pops up, you just cut me off and let me know. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here this evening, man. We got a crowd in here. If y'all would just take a quick second, whether you're on Rumble, X, or on YouTube, hit that like button for us, help boost the algorithm a little bit. If you're on X, feel free to share it, retweet, quote tweet, all that stuff. Quote tweet and say, listen to this guy's stupid accent, man. And just keep it rolling. You know what I mean? But we appreciate y'all hanging out with us here. So Jaden Reed was another one. You guys remember last night? It kind of got uncovered that Jaden Reed was going to start. Evidently he was a little hobbled. Some people were saying, no, he's not actually injured. It's personal reasons. Other people were saying, no, it's an injury. Some were saying it's more serious than others. Well, the news came out today. Matt Schneidman tweeted this out and says, Gutekunst says Jaden Reed will start on NFI because he tweaked something at his youth camp. You guys remember the screenshot I showed you last night, right? Where it was him at the youth camp. And it's like, okay, this was just 2 days ago. He actually tweaked something there. And I love how he went on. Gutekunst said, quote, I don't know if an 8-year-old beat him on a route. He says with a smile, Reed won't miss much time. So obviously we kind of dodged a bullet there. So Tim, man, it actually happened at the youth camp. Dude, that was wild to me that I seen that.
That was what we were talking about the other night, like, oh, he just did a camp. Everything must have been fine. Yeah. I mean, hey, we saw that video of Tyreek Hill getting roasted by a 9-year-old. So, it does happen at these youth camps sometimes. The future of the NFL emerges at a young age sometimes during the summer camps.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Bird didn't get his toe stepped on or something crazy. Bottom line, whatever's going on, it's clearly nothing to be scared about. It's not super serious. He looked good today. He was out there, working the crowd, and he was present at practice and didn't seem to be limping or anything. Nothing that I think is going to keep him off the field for an extended period of time. So, Good news.
Definitely.
I mean, all these little tweaks really don't matter till we get to Brazil, honestly. Like, any of these injuries don't matter. Zach Tom doesn't matter. Tucker Kraft doesn't matter. Of course, I want to see him on the field, but dude, it doesn't matter until those wins and losses start counting towards us chasing that Lombardi. So I'm cool with them taking all their time. You still got a lot of work you got to do in the in the classroom and everything, and I know, Clayton, they were getting out hand in there.
I love it. We got to hit on it here. Roger Davis says that slope roof on the Huskies is making me nervous. God, I love our listeners.
Don't worry, Roger. There's nobody up on that roof either.
Yeah. Then Prince comes back and says Roger Davis confirmed as a Fed. I swear we get the right crowd in here, man. It's just hilarious how we just drew the same type of people into the same area.
True international average of pressure.
That's so no, as I'm trying to gather my thoughts and talk about the next topic, I just can't stop staring at that slope up there. Going, Jesus, what the hell's happening in this country, Tim?
Oh gosh, I don't know, Clayton.
Don't worry about it. We won't even. Let's go to M. Smitty's next comment here. Greg, heard Jenkins took some center snaps today. Can you confirm that, Tim? That was true, right? They said he did take a few snaps at center.
That is a big 10-4 affirmative. Copy that. Yes, definitely. Big E was taking snaps at center. Paul Brettel confirmed that earlier. I believe he had a little bit of a write-up on that, but I didn't get to see as much of the O-line other than they were doing some team exercises and stuff like that. I got to see some reps, but I did hear that Jenkins was out there. I did actually see a couple of those today myself, so that is true. And Sean Ryan getting some pretty significant work at right guard as well today. So
there you go.
We're still waiting. We're still waiting for those uppers to really come on, so that we can get some crack in, all that. So
yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to.
So yeah, they were obviously moving guys around. I think I had seen somewhere that Dillard got his lunch ate by Rashawn Gary. That happens to a lot of tackles in the league, so I wouldn't necessarily go ooh, Dillard sucks. Probably more to do with Rashawn Gary. And that's the thing, too. When you don't have the pads on, you've really got to curb the enthusiasm on pass rush wins because, like, Brian, I didn't really think about this till Brian Balaga said it one day on the Homer Hour. He said, yeah, the worst experience in camp for an offensive lineman, or one of the worst experiences, I think he said, is trying to block when you just got shells on, when you don't even have pads on, because there's less to grab a hold of, right? They're taught, they're trained, get inside the frame, grab a hold of the jersey and the pads, and that's something else to grab onto. When you're just having to block a body, it's a tough day at the office. So you got to kind of, those are the little things you need to focus on in camp and go, okay, let's curb the enthusiasm there, or curb the enthusiasm, or not the enthusiasm, but the criticism a little bit.
But you'd always get those, right? You'd get back for 2 days or whatever, and it's all right. We got 3 days of just, you are going to be gassed. We're just going to run. You put your helmet on and you're running. Like, we're going to go through our base offense, base defense, special teams, all that. You're running, and then all right, at the end of the week, you get your shoulder pads, go home Monday morning. It's time to start cracking heads, and that's when we really see. That's when the football players show out. A lot of guys, talked about it all the way through the draft, the underwear Olympics, right, Clayton? So
I'm telling you, man. Absolutely. We got a question here for Tim. Roger Davis says, Tim, any feel on our new DC's demeanor at practice? Usually that's kind of the highlight of practices, is you hear some of the coaches screaming. Maybe you see they got a very, very mature calmness about them. Any feel as far as the vibe around Jeff Hafley, the new defensive coordinator, Tim?
I had a really fun interaction with him and Coach Camp this morning as they were walking into practice. I'll save that for the post show chatter amongst us. But
did they say something about a slope roof? No. Okay, I'll just check. Go ahead, Tim.
No, but I did. Me, I'm a defensive junkie. So I hang out on that south end of the facility there, where the defense usually puts in their work. So I did have eyes on our defense and Coach Hafley. And I will say this, as far as his demeanor, I would say fully engaged. I would say not quite as much intensity as, maybe a Coach Camp brings to the table, but he's definitely in tune and hands-on. He's a hands-on coach. If we're going to just go ahead and make a comparison to what I saw last year with Joe Barry, Joe Barry was hands-on in his own way, kind of more of a periphery guy, and then would check in with different groups periodically throughout practice. What I saw today was Coach Half was engaged 100% with his defense, particularly the secondary players today, obviously. But totally engaged. I saw a lot of arms crossed with his, his clipboard in his left hand. I saw a lot of hands on the knees, watching everything. And then if things were happening on the field, he was quick to walk up to the players and engage with them right away. So he's a hands-on type of coach, which is a refreshing change on the defensive side of the ball. The new DC's demeanor is where we want to be. I'm a big believer change is only good if it's for the better. And I think we made a change for the better here at DC.
I like that. Not like
super early opinion, though. This is day one. They're not even wearing pads yet. Well, let's ask this question in a couple of weeks here, and we'll.
First thing, I liked what you said, Tim. He went right up, and we're working with the DBs. Let's help them, because who did we just sign? We got our boy Kenny over there, the mini coach that's on the field all the time. Let him right there. We saw it in the clip. Let him work with Wooden and Wyatt and Brooks, and dude, spend the time where you need to. Right? I like that.
So true. So very true.
Eric Sutherland in the chat. Dillard looked like Jason Spriggs. What's wrong with you, Eric? Jason Spriggs catches so much hate on this show, man. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Omer in the chat said Wicks was balling again. I think it was Ross Uglum put a tweet out, and I couldn't put it on the screen because he used some colorful language, but he essentially said, "Man, Wicks is good." I'm telling you, man, what we seen last year, just the tip of the iceberg. You're gonna. I think if he gets just as many opportunities as every other receiver in that room, you're going to look up and go, that's the go-to guy. Not that you force him the ball, but just simply you're going to try to build your offensive scheme around putting him in a position to get looks, right? So I'm excited about Wicks for sure. You guys know I've been on that that bandwagon since last year, and I probably people are tired of hearing it, but some of the stuff you would catch watching the All 22 late at night when the wife was mad at me, bro, it's you go, how is he getting that open? And you watch just the fluidity in the hips, the footwork is phenomenal. He's got that huge frame. When you see that huge frame, there's something psychological that happens to a DB that might be 5'9", 5'10", and they look over and see them shoulders and that tall boy, and they're going, I can't let him moss me. I can't let him beat me deep. Next thing you know, he shakes you out of your jock, and he's 8 yards of separation on a shake route or a drag or a slant. I think he's going to be a hell of a player, man. It was cool to see him first day of camp already flashing for sure. We kind of hit on this earlier. Coach Lynn says Elton Jenkins getting reps at center also. Let's go. Yeah, to me, it seemed like the people who covered that, Coach, they were minimizing the fact that he got snaps there. It was almost just like, all right, this is just kind of I don't
passing, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's anything where he might replace Josh Myers. I could be wrong, but I don't have any feel for that yet. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but here we go. Kevin R says, did we hear anything about Pratt? I personally didn't hear much at all. I'm going to go through the rest of my notes here. Maybe there is some stuff buried in there. But Tim, did you get some vibe on that, man?
Yeah, I got a little bit. I think I got to see about a series and a half from Michael Pratt, and he looked good to me. I mean, again, this is all early, super early analysis here. But what I saw was a lot of scramble drill, rolling right, extending the play, making the completion to the boundary, things like that, good decision making. So I think Pratt looked really good today. I really do. Sean Clifford looked good today as well. I mean, it's easy to pay attention to these two guys when, QB1's on the sideline having a chat with the head coach. So we got to see a lot of reps from those guys. But I think Pratt looked good early. The one thing I will say, the last play I saw was him. It looked like he was trying to throw one away to the sideline, and Anthony Johnson Jr. sprinted over there and snagged it, picked it off, toe tapper on the sidelines. It was
give him a little
thing of beauty.
Waggle.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty. So that was an interesting moment there. But no, I think Pratt looks pretty good. For a rookie new to camp here, a kid that didn't look like the moment was too big for him. Especially probably getting the news maybe the day before that QB1's not going to be out there. So be ready to get a lot more reps than maybe you had planned on for the first camp. So I think he looked good, though, for real. I do. I think we thought that when he was drafted, we liked the pick initially, and Goody's just looking like more and more of a genius right now because I think Pratt looked good today.
Yeah, that Chalk Talk episode we did on Michael Pratt, the big thing that stood out to me was accuracy, quick release, and, man, is he mobile. He's sneaky quick out of the pocket. So it sounds like
I saw all three of those things out of him today. Absolutely.
Got it. Good stuff, man. So there you go, man. We'll see. Again, I wouldn't roll out Michael Pratt beating Sean Clifford out for the backup spot. Now, if they carry 3 quarterbacks this year, that's very, very rare that the Packers carry 3. If they do, then they won't force the issue. They'll just let Sean Clifford be the backup. But if it comes down to you got to choose between Clifford and Pratt, probably got a better chance of Sean Clifford making it to the practice squad than Michael Pratt, simply because Michael Pratt, there was a little buzz around him, especially if he shows, let's say he goes through camp and he outperforms Sean Clifford. For what it's worth, I know it's practice. I got you. And it's preseason. They're not going up against the best of the best. But if he does somehow, some way outperform Sean Clifford, don't be surprised. If Michael Pratt's the guy and they stash Clifford on the practice squad and you still got 2 years of basically you can sign him to the futures after the end of the year, and basically that resets to a 2-year contract, if I understand correctly. You just have some restricted free agency, exclusive rights, all that type of stuff comes into play. So not really worth it to dive too deep into the details.
Only thing I see is that Pratt still needs to take in a lot of information, right? There's Matt. I think it was either Matt or Goody was still in their presser was like, yeah, he's playing good, but man, he's still got like a lot to pick up, a lot to learn. So that would be that'd be my only issue is if he doesn't come out of preseason with enough information to be the backup to take over for a game or two. If Jordan Love has, whatever, then all right, then we need to keep 3, right? If we like Pratt that much and we need a backup quarterback that we can count on, it's got to be Clifford. So
that's a great point. That's a great point, Emilio, because like what we're seeing now this early is all vanilla sets. They're not running anything complex.
Hand it off, catch a ball, throw a curl route. All right.
roll right,
Right.
throw on the move, that kind of stuff. They're testing those attributes, and he's passing all those tests right now. But you're right. Once we start rolling into preseason matchups and we get game plans together and that playbook starts to get big and open up, yeah, we'll see how the rookie quarterback can process those decisions for sure.
Yeah. Ron Sample in the chat says Michael Pratt against second and third string, Clifford against first team. Sounded like he made some tight window completions. So there you go.
Yeah.
If that is, completely true, and I'm not saying Ron's lying here. I'm just saying, like, if that is the case, obviously he probably didn't catch the whole practice. But if that is the case, then you kind of give Clifford the upper hand because they're going to look at it and go, hey, that was against first team as opposed to second, third, right? So that's important information. Appreciate you, Ron. All right, let's get back to some of the other grabs I've got here. This was kind of big news for me. Wes Hokowitz tweeted out Marshawn Lloyd is out here but not practicing, and then he later confirmed with a quote tweet and said it's a hip for Lloyd. So Marshawn Lloyd a little beat up right now as far as camp starting off. I don't think it's anything to worry about though.
We were aware of something with him, right, when he was drafted.
Didn't
he? This is something coming out of his last year at USC, right? He had something going on.
Seems like I do remember that too. So probably not a big deal, but nonetheless, we're going to talk about it because obviously it's camp getting cranked up. Now, here were the starting lineups, okay, in teams drills. According to Andy Herman on Twitter, he said Sean Clifford, quarterback, Josh Jacobs, running back, the three receivers on the field for the starting. Now, keep in mind, Jaden Reed, obviously not at practice, right? He's battling a toe injury where he got burnt by an 8-year-old at youth camp. But Dontavian Wicks, Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs were the three wide receivers. No surprise there. You would love to see Reed healthy because if you got those three on the field and Reed's not out there, it make you go, right? Maybe Wicks did leapfrog him. I don't think that's the case, though. I think it's just going to be a constant rotation of those four guys personally. And Bo Melton, when someone gets banged up, Bo Melton stepping in there and just shocking the world. Tight end starting with teams was Luke Musgrave. Obviously, Tucker Kraft out. You didn't expect Ben Sims or Tyler Davis to leapfrog him. Tyler Davis was practicing today, if I understood correctly. He looks like he's healthy. The offensive line, this is what the information everybody came for here. Here was your starting offensive line. Left tackle, Rasheed Walker. Left guard, Elton Jenkins. Center, Josh Myers. Right guard, Sean Ryan. Right tackle, Andre Dillard. Now, obviously, that got shuffled around a lot, and you ended up seeing our boy Jordan Morgan go in at right guard. I think sometimes he went to right tackle. It seemed like he played the majority of his snaps at right guard. And then, of course, Elton Jenkins got some snaps at center as well. So going to be interesting to see how that shakes out offensively. Now, on the defensive side of the ball, the front four in this 4-3 look, you had Preston Smith, you had TJ Slayton, you had Kenny Clark, and then Rashawn Gary. TJ Slayton sounded like he had a pretty good day. It's the first camp practice. I understand. We're not really playing football yet. But if you guys remember early in the year last year, TJ Slayton looked damn good. Yep. There was a couple times that we seen that flash into the backfield, right? And keep in mind, playing two gap and getting in the backfield, that's pretty impressive. This might end up being the darling of this defense. We may look up 3-4 weeks in the season and go, dang, TJ Slayton's outperforming Carl Brooks and everybody.
Sleeper the whole time.
Right. Could be, right? So that's how the front four looks. At linebacker, they had Eric Wilson, Quay Walker, Isaiah McDuffie. So if you're reading that from left to right from the offense's perspective, I imagine that's what that is probably because Gary usually plays left defensive end. That would be Quay most likely being the Mike, Isaiah McDuffie being the Sam, and Eric Wilson being the Will. Now, keep in mind, later on when they went to nickel, Edgerrin Cooper did come on as a starter, if I understood correctly.
Yeah, I was just going to say I had that in my notes. I saw Cooper running with the ones in different sets, so he's certainly in the mix right away as well.
Yeah. And I think it got confirmed, too. It may be later in these notes. If not, we'll go ahead and hit it right now. I've seen multiple reports that Quay Walker was playing the Mike. So it sounds like that's going to be the plan early on. But
I saw that with my own eyes. I was too far away. I couldn't tell if he had a green dot on or not. But
let me get Tim some nice binoculars.
Yeah. Man, you know what you could do? You could put him up on that roof, and he'd have a really good vantage where you could see perfect up there. You know what I'm saying, Tim? You'd have just a bird's eye view, my friend. But,
Clayton, you are a trip, man. You are
okay
on one tonight.
I'm just saying. They started it in the chat. All right, so
They did.
we're gonna finish it on the show. All right, so cornerback in the base 4-3, Eric Stokes, Jair Alexander. No surprise there. They're going to give Eric Stokes every opportunity to win that job opposite of Jair Alexander. I kind of feel like it's not even going to be a competition for the number 2 cornerback, but there'll be some heavy competition for that number 3 that would step in on the boundary or the field side, along the sideline, covering the 1 on either side of the field if, God forbid, Jair Alexander or Eric Stokes gets banged up, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing there. Now, here's the exciting part. Safety, Javon Bullard and Xavier McKinney. So Javon Bullard, it looks like he is from day one. They're looking at him as the starting safety alongside Xavier McKinney. Tim, I'm sure you've got mixed emotions about this because Anthony Johnson Jr., but this is what you want to see, man. You don't want a second rounder sitting on the bench. And here's what I like about it. If this is the case, and it may not mean anything at all, but if Javon Bullard is the starting safety alongside Xavier McKinney, Anthony Johnson Jr. off the bench, feeling pretty good about that, bro.
And he is hungry, man. That pick I was telling you about was late in practice. It was just before it ended. And I think it was painfully obvious to him that, Javon Bullard's here to play football. And if Ant wants to see the field, he's going to have to earn it. And he was making an effort today. I mean, he flew clean across the field and picked that ball off. It was great. And I tell you, it's good for our team because that's going to make him a better player. Obviously, Javon Bullard's the real deal. We're going to see what he looks like, at the NFL level once we get some preseason action, at least to kind of get a barometer on him. But I think that has lit a fire under Ant Johnson. And I agree, Clayton. I think you can do a lot worse for your third string safety coming off the bench. So let's hope you
competition brings out the best, right, Tim?
Okay. Absolutely. And if it doesn't bring out the best in you, then you don't belong in Green Bay. Then we'll just send you somewhere else.
Yeah. If that doesn't raise your game.
Yeah. You're not going to fit well here because these guys play for each other. They feed off each other. So it's just great to see it.
Shouldn't be marking these, but we are. We're going to have
fun
tonight. Clayton. Here we go.
We just got back.
Where's my drop? Where's Jacob's favorite drop at?
Yeah, there we go.
There it is.
All right. Let's stick to the football first. Eric Sutherland earlier said Wicks, Reed, Watson, and Dobbs going to be tough for defenses. And then add in Musgrave and Kraft. Wow, absolutely, man. Coach Lynn said, my boy Eric Wilson had a day. Emmanuel Wilson had a couple big runs while my sleeper for running back 3. I seen that too. It sounded like this is no surprise. Emmanuel Wilson, like last year, did this, man. And if he hadn't got hurt, I honestly think there's a legit shot for him to surpass our boy, one of our favorite players here on this podcast, A.J. Dillon, because Emmanuel Wilson showed that kind of pop, right? So is that what you kind of came away with, Tim? Emmanuel Wilson had a pretty good day?
I starred that comment from Coach Len because that's literally like the third thing down here in my notes. I'm checking my little note app on the phone, and Emmanuel Wilson popped up a couple times here. Emmanuel Wilson, big run. Emmanuel Wilson, big run. Emmanuel Wilson, big run. There was an interesting moment where Carrington Valentine chased him down from like 40 yards away and stripped him.
For real?
Yeah, it was kind of a funny moment during practice today. But no, all in all, Emmanuel Wilson looks like he's picking up where he left off last year, man. Because even when he worked back from that shoulder, he was showing flashes there when we did get to see him in some limited action there towards the end of the year. I think that, you talk about him possibly passing up A.J. Dillon. I mean, depending on what's going on here with Marshawn Lloyd, there's a chance that, maybe we need Emmanuel Wilson out there in the rotation early this year. So, we'll see what happens. But, Coach Len, great comment. That is so true. I'm glad other people took notice of that because that caught my eye right away, man. 31 was out there balling today. So shout out to our boy E. Wilson.
I was listening. I can't remember the name of the pod. It just popped up after one finish. But they were talking about the new kickoff rule, and they were saying that maybe we're looking at more running backs because the block is more along the lines of like a blitz pickup or something like that because the guy's got a 5-yard head start, sprint at you, and they were talking traps and pulls and different things like that. So it's going to be pretty wild to see that come together. But hey, if we need 3 running backs because they're going to be more mobile and be able to stay with their blocks longer, run them out, zone it sort of thing. I like that. And I would take Emmanuel Wilson 100%.
Yeah. Sure. So here are some of the comments coming in about nickel. Again, this image we're showing from Andy Herman was the base defense against, we're showing 11 personnel on offense because that's what they decided to break the huddle with. Now, when they went to the defensive side, this was our base 4-3. So when it comes to nickel, Chad Inc. said, Andy Herman said Cooper came in on in nickel with Quay and Nixon in the slot. So it's Nixon and Edgerrin Cooper as your 2 nickel linebackers. And then, of course, you had the slot corner being Keyshawn Nixon. No surprise there. They're going to give him every opportunity to hold that job, obviously. Ben Holden confirmed it. Cooper in the first team for nickel. Let's see here. Omer says both Bullard and Cooper on first team. There you go with the nickel, obviously. Professor Cakes hitting the big facts. He said, I heard slope roofs provide good viewpoint. Let's see here. Eric Sutherland said, Tim, don't use the Secret Service binoculars. And M. Smitty said, don't worry, Tim. Security won't consider you a threat. They may even provide you a ladder.
Oh, my God.
And Ben Holden brings it back to football, said Bullard's going to be a beast.
There you go. There's a football post. I love it.
That's what we were looking for. All right. So, listen, you got to I want to hear what people are thinking. You know what I'm saying? I pause for dramatic.
I'm sorry. I'm reading all of Eric's comments right now.
We got Eric stirred
up.
You
missed Larry Canoes, Clayton.
Oh, what'd Larry say? Put it up there if it's appropriate.
It is.
You got to Tim, pop it up there.
Where is it? I can't. Oh, here we go. Mr. Larry. He said the rangefinder is okay.
The rangefinder, let me tell you, it is. It has been calibrated, evidently. Goodness gracious. Anyway, Andy Herman, listen, when something crazy like that happens, I don't know what to do other than to make light of it. We'll just leave it at that because it's just absolutely wild that a portion of our country is just like, no big deal. It's like, what are we even Anyway, Andy Herman said this was kind of a series of tweets. I'm going to try to read from the bottom up because that's the order in which it did come in, obviously. So it says Quay, the mock linebacker. That's where we heard that. All right. Next tweet said, couple of nice runs by Emmanuel Wilson with the 2s. He'll get some extra run with Lloyd apparently not practicing. Reason currently unknown. We confirmed it was a hip. There you go. Where's Coop? Somebody asked, where's Coop? He said, with the 2s. All right. Then Andy Herman said, Tyron Hopper, all over a run in the backfield. He did that a few times in minicamp / OTAs too. I've been hearing good things about Tyron Hopper.
Yep.
Tim, did you see any flashes of that today other than like what Andy said there? Did you kind of get a vibe like, hey, this might not be too big for Tyron Hopper?
I got to be honest. I didn't see much of Hopper at all today, other than before practice. The linebackers I really saw were Zay McDuffie, Quay, and Edgerrin Cooper. Those are who I got to really see put in some work. So I didn't see enough of Hopper to make a comment.
I do love to hear that, though, because I was excited about Hopper coming out of Missouri. Tim, we couldn't get Ennis Rakestraw, well, at least we ended up with Hopper, right? I mean,
that's what we said on draft night, right?
Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Andy Herman also tweeted out Kenneth Odumegwu bit on a play action inside, but Kalen King all over a short throw on a rollout completed to Pearson. Eric Stokes all over a Josh Jacobs run that he tried to bounce to the outside. So you're seeing Eric Stokes showing some physicality in the running game, or run defense, I should say. And then obviously Kalen King already starting to show a little bit of something. Guys, we talked about Kalen King. That's one of those dudes that if the draft had happened immediately following last year's draft, if they had immediately said, all right, let's draft for next year, Kalen King would have been the top cornerback off the board. I'm not saying it's justified. It's just simply that's how high he was in 2022. Obviously, this year's draft, he dropped down a notch, falling all the way to the 7th round. But I'm excited about Kalen King, fellas.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He might be the steal of this draft, honestly. When it's all said and done.
And especially if he balls out, the fact that a lot of those younger guys and stuff like that are staying in and getting paid right with NIL now. So if he balls out, came out, got picked up late, that's even more of a snag. I like that.
Got it. Love it. All right, Donovan Schilling in the chat said, "Hey guys, been a while. We were at Lambeau for the bike rides and practice. The kiddo got picked up by Stanley. Let's go, man.
Nice.
And Clayton, that was me that tagged you in the Blood Moon Lambeau pics last night. Appreciate it, Donovan. Beautiful, man. Love it, love it, love it. Dude, glad you got the family out there, and that's awesome, Stanley picture, kiddo. It's funny hearing Tauscher talk about that earlier on Wildy and Tausch, and one of his first experiences is like the kids are literally coached to, like, depending on the framework of the bike, like, hey, listen, try to Tauscher, they interviewed someone from American Family Insurance earlier today, and he said that when he was a kid doing the bike experience or whatever, the tradition there in Green Bay, that his dad told him, like, listen, stay away from the numbers 50s, 60s, and 70s, okay? The bike won't hold up. So, I love it. That's why you see some of the pictures of the guys just carrying the bike over to the field.
Or you'll see the back tires completely flat.
Yeah.
Or kids just looking at his bike like, okay, that's done. All right.
We need to get some solid fill tire. Can we get some flat free runners or something on those things? Or can we get some wheels on there, Clayton?
I'm gonna bring a crate of Fix-A-Flat with me to camp tomorrow.
You're gonna need more than Fix-A-Flat. You're gonna need a tow truck. Some of those cats. Donovan Schilling, though, appreciate it, buddy. He went on to say I got a funny story about that. He said, I accidentally called him Kevin when I met him. LOL. That sounds like some stuff I would do, man. I'm just telling you, I'm the worst. Mandy, ask Mandy some stories on me, man. I'll be deep in conversation, someone trying to BS my way through it, and afterwards she'll go like, that wasn't his name, Clayton. Like, he completely screwed that up. So been there, done that, got the T-shirt, man. Last tweet I wanted to hit on here from Andy Herman was new offensive line just now with the one, so they changed up the offensive line. Listen at this lineup. You had Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Sean Ryan at left guard, Elton Jenkins at center, Jordan Morgan at right guard, and then Dillard at right tackle. So imagine if you rolled with that and you take Dillard out and put Tom at right tackle. I think there's a realistic chance that if for some reason, God forbid, Josh Myers does go down, or if for some odd reason we get surprised and they decide, hey, Josh Myers isn't the guy, let's go ahead and move forward with a backup plan, that could be a realistic setup right there. It really could.
So could Elton Jenkins going to center and then Tom going to left guard. That's probably a less likely scenario, but also possible. I mean, Zach Tom is probably our most versatile lineman on that O-line. So hopefully we don't have those issues though, right? Hopefully everyone has a stellar camp, nobody gets hurt, and everyone plays.
I don't mind that though. That's really not a bad lineup. Switch out, running or Ryan and Monk or something like that. We can rotate. We got Morgan in there. So my boy Travis, if we can get him on, if he
Travis
can make
Glover,
the squad, throw him in there.
And, it's like you said, Emilio, though, like the most important thing is if we're going to juggle this line around throughout camp, that's fine. Get through the preseason. But as long as, by the time we're getting ready to, get on a plane to Brazil, we know who this offensive line is and we've got some consistency, we should be good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
We got to have that.
All right, we're going to go rapid fire here. We're over on time. We got to do a giveaway tonight too, man. So Andy Herman tweeted out Rashawn Gary with a sack of Sean Clifford in the red zone. Rashawn Gary with another would-be sack of Clifford. Clifford throws anyway, but tipped incomplete and probably dropped by Jacobs. Gary looked to beat Dillard on both plays. Clifford to Dobbs for a touchdown on a short out route. I didn't click show more. I just wanted to show that Rashawn Gary and Dillard matchup there. And again, the edge always goes to, no pun intended, the pass rusher, because it's a little bit harder for these offensive linemen to block when they're not in full pads, right? So just got to throw that out there. But Rashawn Gary sure looks the part. He may end up just absolutely dominating this 4-3 defense. Wes Hawkins tweeted out Elton Jenkins center snaps. Keep in mind, primary center backup last year was Runyon and Tom. So maybe they are looking at Elton as the primary backup now to Josh Myers if something happens there, as opposed to sliding Tom. Or if you'll remember, there was one game where our boy Josh Myers got hurt and Tom immediately started warming up, snapping the ball, right? So that's going to be a little bit different. Wes Hawkins says red zone starts with Clifford finding Wicks for a 10-yard touchdown, put it only where 13 could get it near the pylon. So there's some of those highlights that we talked about from Dontavian Wicks. And then he talked about Turner goes 2 for 3 on field goals, made one for 33, 38 on the right hash, and then missed the 43 left hash. So
I saw that one. Ugh.
It's ugly, huh?
Anders isn't the only one with the left hash issue. Let's just put it that way.
Absolutely. All right, so one more news or one more tweet that's worthy of talking about. I don't know where he got the information from, but I definitely trust Eli Berkovitz. He's one of my favorite follows on Twitter. One of those dudes that was in the trenches with me battling in the Aaron Rodgers situation when everyone just, not everyone, but many people just wanted to turn on him on a dime. I really got a lot of respect for Eli. He said Mark Murphy just announced that Peyton Manning and Omaha Productions will produce a Packers documentary. This is going to be good. You guys remember
that was announced at the shareholders meeting. He said that during the meeting. So, yep.
You guys remember last year when he was in house and we're going, is Jordan Love going to be on the quarterback show? Like, what's the deal here, right?
Yep.
And now he's here this year, so we are getting a documentary. Omaha Productions, guys, they do everything first class. That's going to be awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. And I love that Peyton Manning goes in-house and gets a little bit of trust from the teams. Like, hey, look, we're not going to screw you over. We're not going to let information out. Peyton Manning is just I don't know if it's appropriate to say it, but I'm going to say it, a godsend to the game of football. It'd be real easy, the money he made, just to drift off and go live on an island somewhere, but he stays connected with the game of football, calling the Monday Night Manning cast. I know some people don't like it. I think I heard Ryan talk about he hated it. I know there's many people that agree with Ryan. I love it, bro. But I'm the dude that listens. I watch the game with the TV muted. Now, when the Manning cast is on, I'll mute that sucker and hear them tell stories and draw up. And, hey, I remember when this happened. Now, I want to know firsthand from experience, a first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, what are you seeing on the field? Because I want to learn to watch the game that way, So
the vibe I got at the meeting when I heard that was that the intent is to do something about the franchise as a whole and what the Green Bay Packers mean to the game of football. And so that angle right there really makes you respect what Peyton's doing. Because he understands, what this team and this franchise and this town means to the NFL and professional football here in our country. So it's not just going to be about this, 2024 hot new young Packers team. This is about the Green Bay Packers and what this squad means to the NFL. So I can't wait to see it. It's going to be great.
Yeah. And I was just going to add debates there. Peyton is the man. You walk into any gas station down here, you still got the Gatorade poster from him in his game jersey up there ready to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Texas has got George Strait and Tennessee's got Peyton Manning.
Absolutely. Man, I went to a Kenny Chesney concert, all-day concert at Neyland Stadium way back in the early 2000s.
Oh, boy.
And they had everybody. It was a redneck dream. I'm just telling you. It was Brooks and Dunn, Deanna Carter. They had Kid Rock come out.
Wow.
Like it was absolutely awesome. And that was Kid Rock back in his peak when he was still just, wild as a buck. He actually had Kenny Chesney. I don't want to get too deep into the weeds here. I did some restoration work for his mother. I got to meet his mother at her condominium in Fountain City, down there in Knoxville. And I seen a picture in the back. I didn't even know it was Kenny's mom. I seen a picture in the back of her and her twin sister smiling. And in the back was Kid Rock. His eyes were swelled shut. He was so drunk and he was flexing, right? And I was like, is that Kid Rock? She's like, yeah, that was over there at Kenny's concert. And I was like, I was at that concert. She said, yeah, it was. Lord, Kid Rock was pretty drunk. She said that. And I started laughing and I went, so how do you know? And I looked around seeing pictures of Kenny. I'm like, how do you know Kenny? So you know Kenny? She's like, that's my son. I was like, you can't be kidding me. So anyway, I was at that all-day concert event and everything, man. And when they sang Back Where I Come From by Kenny Chesney, they brung Peyton out on stage. Cowboy hat and sung it with him, bro. That place went nuts. I wasn't even a Tennessee fan,
Right.
I don't root against them, but I'm not a big Tennessee fan. I was like,
but you caught yourself screaming too. Oh, yeah, you were excited.
I took my shirt off and threw it on the stage. I went nuts. You know what I'm saying, man? But no, it was a good time. All right, let's. With that being said, let's do a giveaway. Y'all want to, fellas?
Let's hit it.
Hell of a
500, about 500 in here. Might as well spend it now. Appreciate everybody. Hit that like down there.
Understand with our giveaways, what we do is we have a Patreon group. You can find the link in the video description. That's just a way for the listeners, the viewers, to kind of help support the show. Anyone who's a member of the 3 tiers that are on there, you get added to a private chat with the Patreon community. And it's just, we're in there connected. We're having conversation. I'll ask them questions for the show. Their input kind of gets put toward the front of the line as well. It's just a kind of a nice little added perk because they're supporting the show. Another thing we like to do is we take everyone who is on one of those 3 tiers, right, of the Patreon members list, and we'll add them to a giveaway. So Mr. Larry, one of our great listeners, man, I have a ton of respect for, sent some really cool memorabilia. He said, hey, I don't need this. And he wanted to donate it to the show. So what we've done is anyone who is a member of the Patreon group, obviously before this show tonight, we don't have time to add anyone who joins right now in, but you will be in on the next giveaway if you've got an active membership. So what we did was we threw you on a wheel. We're going to spin it. Whoever it lands on is going to win this piece of memorabilia. Now, this is a framed picture. All right. This is absolutely awesome. And again, Larry's probably going to log off because he knows I'm going to talk about him because that's just how humble this man is. But he donated a framed picture. It's this shot right here, man. So it's Bart Starr in the middle holding the football. You got Aaron Rodgers on one side, Brett Favre on the other. So obviously 3 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks in Green Bay, 3 absolute legends. I think it's the coolest. It's so hard to give it away because I'm telling you, man, it's I'm like, man, I'm wondering if I can keep this thing. But it'd be bad juju. We ain't going down that road. All right. So that's what we're giving away tonight. So anyone who is a member of the Patreon group, we added you. If you're a member of one of those 3 tiers, we added you to the Pinky Wheel.
The
right?
Pinky Wheel. Hey, shout out to The Rock. We got to shout out Larry McCarrion. The recipient of the Barton Sherry Star Recognition Award this year. Mark Murphy also announced that today at the shareholders meeting. So congratulations to Larry the Rock McCarron, Packers royalty. And of course, Packer Fan Total Access royalty. He has his own wheel. So let's spin the prize wheel.
Now, I know Ron Sample, as you can see. Can you see my cursor right now, guys? Can you see that?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
Ron Sample, just because the pinky's on your name doesn't mean you win, okay? The arrow.
Got to line up with the arrow.
He's the pinky was on my name. How come I didn't get the picture? So sorry, Ron. You may still win. I don't know. Watch him win now. They'll say it's fixed.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, here we go. You guys can see the wheel. Let's go ahead and spin it. Again, giving away this really, really cool frame photo of Brett Favre, Bart Starr, and Aaron Rodgers. Let's spin the wheel and see what we got here. The winner of that frame photo that was donated by Mr. Larry it was almost Larry.
That would have been wild.
Oh, it's close.
Chewy.
How about these hands?
Cute.
What a great drop. All right, Chewy. So you are the winner, man. Chris Nichols was so close too, man. Absolutely close there. So congratulations to Chewy. Appreciate you all of you guys, everybody on this wheel, everyone there's some people in the Patreon. Listen, I understand sometimes, they've canceled their membership. They're still kind of in the database, but they're not an active member. You can, redo that anytime you want. It's totally cool. And anyone who's interested in joining the Patreon group, it's just a phenomenal group of Packer fans. So just keep that in mind. Just click on the link in the video description. You can join that. Chewy, if you would, sir, shoot me a private message. Don't do it in public. Let me know where to send that picture. What's crazy is Chewy is actually
He's
here.
Going to hand drop that thing off. He's in
Northeast Tennessee, right? Yeah, he's in Northeast Tennessee, so we can get it to him. That's pretty cool. So there you go. That's the giveaway again, Mr. Larry. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you for donating that. We got some other cool memorabilia that's coming up too. So, Tim, Emilio, you got anything else, man? We went way over here.
No, just excited for day 2 tomorrow. I'm going to be a little late. I got some stuff to do in the morning, but I will be at camp again tomorrow. Try and get some more shots for you guys, and we'll have some fun out there. Heck
yeah, man. Just make sure you wear those tennis shoes with the good grips, man. That's a steep slope. Yeah. You know what I mean? But again, that's tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Another open practice. Training camp's underway, man. Here's what's cool. You see this week playing out, right? The first next Thursday, that's the Hall of Fame game. So you get your first NFL preseason game, and then 2 nights later, family night, baby. We're here. We made it. So appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening. We will be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Time. This was awesome. The chat was just absolutely lit up. You guys would hit that like button on your way out. We really appreciate that. Whether you're on Rumble, you're on X, you're on YouTube, definitely will help the show. Please don't ever think that it doesn't matter, because it really does.
200 followers on Rumble. Just hit.
Yeah, just hit it. That's awesome, man. So we surpassed the Green Bay Packers on Rumble, which is pretty wild. And YouTube is absolutely blowing up. And listen, I see all the comments. I try to respond to all of them. The encouragement that you guys have given us, just talking about, I couldn't tell you how many comments says, this is the best Packers show going, this and that. I don't believe you, but I appreciate it.
Right.
The show sucks.
Yeah.
But we appreciate you supporting us for sure. So that being said, for those of you listening on the pod, thank you
for those of you listening on the pod.
Oh, thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.